Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, my fellow YouTubers. Welcome to another small update for 4/18/2020. This has to do with something I just read on the Seattle Times. Now, let me pull it up for you because I think you might find this to be very interesting, okay? So if you go to Coronavirus Daily News for the Seattle Times, there's an article that is really shocking, and they get their information. Read you this because this is literally, in my opinion, shocking. So here you go. This came out this morning. I missed it, by the way. I'm so busy doing it, okay? The Washington Post basically has this this report, okay? All right, so you guys have been wondering, everyone's asked, where's my money? Where's my money? Where's my money? I get this all the time. I had a woman basically say to me, I think her name's Michelle, who said, I get paid the 27th. So you get paid April 27th. That's going to be quite interesting because, frankly, I gave the Social Security calendar. Now, let's read you what the headline says, and we'll get into this. Headline says, stimulus checks and other coronavirus release hindered. Hindered, by the way. This is a good play on words here. Hindered by 1960s technology and rocky government rollout. So basically, it says Washington. The national effort to get money to Americans is at risk of being overwhelmed by the worst economy turned down in 80 years. This is coming from the Washington Post to the Seattle Times is publishing it. Economic downturn in 80 years as understaffed and underfunded agencies struggle to deliver funds to all the people who need it, okay? So basically, it says here, basically, as you know, the SBA ran out of money. Then it's talking about the $1,200 per person, and it says millions of households and small businesses are still receiving all the help they promised under the legislation. So, 1960s technology. Now, we're just going to skip through all of this. I don't want you to read this. But here's a few things it says. It says current and former government officials say it is and will be a tall order for any president to execute massive new programs in a matter of weeks. And tens of millions of Americans, about 70 million Americans, actually 80 million Americans, did receive deposits worth $1,200 or more. But the Trump administration promises of swift and effective action. President Donald Trump called the small business program flawlessly executed this week. Really? So it's flawlessly executed because we're out of money. This week is colliding with a federal and state apparatus that is not designed to deliver so much money fast. So basically what they're saying is the technology isn't there to deliver 150 million people's stimulus checks. Only 80 million did it by direct deposit. Everyone else has got to wait. Hold on. The technological backbone to too much of the relief, including the distribution of relief checks and unemployment insurance system, is rooted in systems dating to the 1960s, requiring knowledge of programming languages not widely used in decades. So computer terminology that's not used in programming. An administration that had little priority of keeping senior position staff. Meanwhile, struggling now to quickly implement one of the largest government interventions in history. So basically, if the problem continues, it could leave people like you, the sufferers, with less able to pay bills or buy groceries or further exacerbate the economy decline. Politically, it could be highly damaging to Trump, who's continued to belittle his predecessors' records of managing complex government operations. Okay, so it's talking about polling. The Times shows disastrous approval numbers. 17,000 people died unnecessary through incompetence. And this is the $5 billion Obama site that have cost nothing. The White House on Friday defended its rollout, said 80 million payments made this week, but all all but 1%, okay, so 99% reached their intended recipients. 99% out of 80 million. So that's 79 million plus people. Recipients, Trump on Friday called the initiative an incredible success. Really, so it's an incredible success. Well, you all, this is coming from the Washington Post, by the way, everyone. Yeah, incredible success. Right. We couldn't be more proud of what we've done, said Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin. Right. So he's proud that 80 million people that filed their taxes got paid, but the other 70 million people haven't got paid. Still, a big test faces the administrations of tens of millions, that's 70 million additional taxpayers and people that don't file taxes, or those without bank accounts or direct deposit information on file could face lengthy delays. So they're basically saying anyone without bank accounts. So they're basically thinking Direct Express ain't a bank account, or anyone who's eligible for the relief that doesn't have a Direct Express card or whatever. Among the other problems taxpayers reported this week were payments being sent to the incorrect bank accounts. True. Failures to include $500 checks for children and not getting money at all due to technical glitch involving the tax preparers. So let's just go down a little bit because I'm not going to scroll through the. For example, MetaBank, which serves tax preparers, received payments for 300,000 temporary bank accounts it uses for people who use online tax service or accountant to pay their taxes. The bank sent them back to the IRS, which is not likely to issue paper checks. Pay attention, paper checks. The IRS largely used 28 taxpayer data, and some people have died or changed banks. Oh, don't forget the banking glitch basically made it so dead people are getting their checks too. Hello, Michael Donovan. How are you tonight? I hope you're finding this report interesting. The IRS said it's aware of the problems, but is limited in what it can do to help. The IRS is claiming they're limited on what they can do to help. Pay attention to everyone watching this in future. Taxpayers trying to sort out what they got the inaccurate check or nothing at all when qualified for a payment are unable to communicate with the IRS. The tax filing deadline delayed to July 15th. Okay, here's the big kicker here, the big enchilada. Michael, I think you're going to love when I say the big enchilada. By the way, everyone, just to let you know, this is a different top I'm wearing today. I had a bath, and I feel pretty clean and cute. So, okay, and I'm confident, okay? The big enchilada's coming. Pay attention. The IRS said it's aware of the problems, but is limited in what it can do to help. Taxpayers trying to sort out, yada, 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 yada. Okay, you've heard that quote. Taxpayers trying to sort out what they got an inaccurate check or nothing at all in qualifying payment or unable to communicate with IRS. Okay, so here it is. With the tax file, okay, delayed to July 15th. Big enchiladas here. The agency closed the last of its service centers in Ogden, Utah, early last week. And the IRS has not been able to expand a pilot telework program for phone agents because of budget restraints. Isn't that interesting? So 70 million people's checks are hanging in limbo because they can't afford certain programs to answer phone calls about it. Social Security is giving one date. The IRS isn't giving a timeline. So it says there, Americans were told to use the Get My Payment portal on the IRS website to check on the status of their payments to see if they need to input their bank account information. But many people who went on the portal received the message the IRS doesn't know the status of the payments, which they're basically saying, well, you might not qualify for payments, or they were locked out altogether. Locked out. I've been hearing horror stories about being locked out, right? So basically it says here's the other part. The IRS systems are still hard coded. Who was IRS commissioner from yada, yada, yada. It's not just a keystroke to go in and code and make the change and hope you made it correctly. When you set up a new portal like this, it requires you to get in some very old legacy systems. The IRS uses decade-old software from the 1960s and computer programming language called COBOL. The stimulus program had required multiple coding changes. The agency had left at least 16 other databases with taxpayers' information, none of which can communicate with the other. So the right hand ain't talking to the left again. The IRS raced to stand up the stimulus program with a depleted staff. Depleted staff. Do you hear that? Overall, the agency had 76,000 employees last June, down from 99,500 in 2010. Dozens of experts in the agency legacy computer systems have left or retired. Current and former officials said, starting in 2011, Republicans in Congress have repeatedly sought cuts to the IRS budget. Wow, isn't that amazing, everyone? There you go. And I'm going to continue because I'm not done at all, because I'm really wanting to share this. The agency didn't have time to think about the outliers, said a senior IRS official. The agency's technology operation, who spoke on the condition of anonymity, to be candid, you got two filing years. You've got divorced people. You got people change bank accounts. They simply couldn't account for every single scenario. The IRS technology teams have been working remotely since the outbreak intensified. The IRS staff did manage to find a way to update to get my payment information once a day. An improvement over the usual once-a-week update of taxpayer information, two senior officials said. With tens of millions of payments, there are bound to be glitches, said such and such, an attorney at the National Consumer Law Center. If you want to blame anyone, blame Congress for not adequately funding the IRS and forcing them to deal with antiquated computer systems. Wow. So you're probably wondering, is there anything more? Well, there is. The former chief technology officer under the Obama said the problems are deeply rooted in government failures to modernize. This is very much a reminder of what life has been like a decade ago said. Problems were highlighted that continue to permeate applications that run at all levels of government. The IRS isn't the only agency having challenges. The Treasury Department Undersecretary Steven Mnuchin is working to oversee a sprawling rescue, including the IRS, even while its own senior ranks are depleted. Treasury headed in the crisis with vacancies in more than half a dozen senior positions, some of whom would otherwise be playing key roles in the processing the work, according to the critics of the administration. Mnuchin does not have a chief of staff, for instance, or an undersecretary for domestic finance role responsibility for monitoring large changes in the U.S. economy. Mnuchin strongly disputed in an interview that he allowed for key vacancies in the Treasury Department, pointing to a long list of officials in key positions and saying Congress should move faster to confirm his appointees. Treasury has two deputy chiefs of staff. Mnuchin Department reviews news release and information pages while also interacting frequently with lawmakers, Federal Reserve officials, the SBA, foreign banking ministers, and banking institutes, such as the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund, according to the people in close contact. On top of the Mnuchin was also intimately involved in such of this week in crafting the federal rescue package for Federal Airlines. There you go, Federal Airlines. So, well, the Federal Airlines get the bailouts. You, the 70 million people, which are about 5 to 10 million are in Direct Express, hasn't got a dang peeping cent of your stimulus check. With Mnuchin personally absorbed in implementing the first major bailout package, bailout, by the way, is what they're calling it, the administration has not made progress on an additional congressional package that both parties believe is necessary to dramatically increase the size of the loan program for small businesses. All right, so it says, people say I'm micromanager involved in a lot of details. It's in an interview. A lot of money has been allocated to us by Congress, and I want to be involved in understanding the details. Oh, so he's basically happy to want to understand the details, but he doesn't know the details because he doesn't know what's going on. So the IRS doesn't know, Social Security doesn't know, and the Treasury Department doesn't know. Go figure. He added, if I'm a bottleneck, I'm happy I'm a bottleneck, getting a lot done. Mnuchin was critical to sealing the deal over the stimulus last month, but in his absence, progress, another measure to expand funding for small business, has been slow, according to multiple congressional aides. Mnuchin said in the interview, continued to negotiate closely with Democrats this week on fixes the small program. So it seems from my reading here, they want to literally fix the program before they might give you a check for your retirement survivors and disability insurance and stuff that you're on Social Security. So it basically says Democrats are demanding X amount of money, blah, blah, blah. And then it says the unemployment safety net run by the Department of Labor. Oh, here we go. The separate emergency program meant to bridge for small firms receiving as they wait was completely overwhelmed after receiving 3 million applications. That says the unemployment safety net system run by the Department of Labor and the states have been equally deluged. More than 22 million Americans have been laid off or furloughed since Trump declared a national emergency on March 12th. Unemployment insurance is a federal program, but each state administers it for its residents. Many states were unprepared for the rush, which caused websites to crash repeatedly and people calling up to 100 times a day to get through. Many states have such outdated technology, 60s and 70s, which rely on decades-old software, that their systems have struggled to make unemployment aid available for gig workers and self-employed workers who don't normally qualify for money but were made eligible by the new law. Our systems are barely keeping up with the overwhelming volume, said such and such, the governor of New Jersey, whose state has advertised a series of jobs recently seeking people proficient in old programming languages. Florida has resorted to handing out paper applications. That this week it has a backlog of 850,000 applications so far. So the state has only sent money so far to 34,000. So it gets down the list here, okay? Only 4 states have actually been sending money out to gig and contract workers: Iowa, Louisiana, Rhode Island, and Texas. One guy's an Uber driver, said to supplement his Social Security income, which itself isn't enough to cover his rent and other monthly bills, but had to stop as the coronavirus shuttered businesses. Then he tried and failed to obtain unemployment aid. They said no record found. Virginia site keep telling him this. Most of my friends have Uber drivers. They've had no money since the day they stopped working, said, estimating they've been without a check for over a month now. They're in a very bad situation. So, but even people who don't have complicated situations like you or I aren't getting paid. And then it says a guy, a longtime hotel concierge, a prominent Washington hotel, applied for unemployment insurance March 20th. The first system, he said, is an unresolved issue and would be contacted if more information was needed. He called the office daily. Thursday, he waited on hold for nearly 3 hours, only to be disconnected. 2 a.m., he logged into the portal again to realize he's been finally approved. This is in Washington, D.C., a month after he applied. He says, I'm monitoring my bank account to make sure it goes through. It should be a matter of days before I get direct deposit. A guy who's 63. There's so much uncertainty. So, there's the end of your story. So, let's talk. Hey, I know they'd make a mess out of this. It's what they do best. Well, Michael, exactly. And I'm glad you're here tuning in this evening, because this was something I was going over after watching a documentary on Amazon over the Great Depression. I was doing some research, to see. I couldn't believe Mickey Rooney and some of these other actors I like Fives Finkel, remembers the Great Depression. Man, those are tough times. But what does it mean for the people? Well, there's a lot of people out there that's going to listen to me read this and say, where's the source? The source is the Seattle Times. You click on the link, and it takes you to the Times article that's free under that, and it says it was published by the Washington Post this morning, okay? So the Washington Post, as everyone knows, is owned by Jeff Bezos, okay? But at least Jeff Bezos, even though he owns Amazon, has got some good writers writing up this report, okay? I think he owns the Times too, but don't correct me, okay? So what's that mean for the rest of you people out there? Well, Well, it means, honestly, that now we know what is the holdup. The report stated, if you were listening, that they have antiquated equipment, and the president's praising that these people got money. You know what? He should be thinking about the people that didn't get paid, the people that are suffering, like others. I mean, it's sad, okay? It is literally sad. I got people messaging me saying, "Oh, you must be wrong in your timeline. Payments are this dates or this date or this," or I've given exact dates, okay? Fortunately, this basically really makes you wonder, okay? Hypothetically, this is just my opinion. Call me paranoid. People have been calling me that lately. What is it? Am I paranoid? Am I not paranoid? If you got people out there making videos every day about Social Security update, this update, that update, but they don't have exact dates, okay? My dates are simple. Right now, it is almost 2,000 hours, okay? And because it's 2,000 hours, that would mean Direct Express could go in 2 hours. Hypothetically, it won't. But I might be able to check for the next 24 hours too on Direct Express. Okay, like I said, keep calling. It'll tell you if there's something pending. Keep checking your bank account. I mean, you could check it every hour on the hour. It's still going to say the same. So, again, the problem is the IRS is bitten off too much. They bitten off too much to chew, and they can't swallow it properly because look what they're doing. They're basically doing what they can, and everyone is suffering. Literally. I mean, people sit there and say, "Oh, well, you're wrong. It's Monday. Oh, you're wrong. It's Wednesday. Oh, you're wrong. It's going to be this week." The USA Today said it was going to be next week. Several other people, but let me ask you a question, okay? Now, well, these old articles, and Michael, if you're still watching, you can understand they're messing it up so bad that I hope you could see through the lines because, frankly, look what it's doing. They basically gave articles a week, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, the timeline that payments will be out, everyone will get paid by the 6th to the 10th. That didn't happen. Then people started getting paid the 11th. Then after the 11th, it was trickling in on the 12th and the 13th, and today's the 18th. But the second wave hasn't come out yet. And now they're saying that antiquated equipment and that the old system is gone. Basically, the old antiquated system caused so much trouble trying to roll out this much money that it's impossible. And then they're starting to print out checks. They say on the 24th, paper checks are going to go out. So every week, the 24th, the 1st, all the way to like the 20th of September, everyone is going to get paper checks. There's two theories I have, okay, about your payments. And everyone knows this, okay? With an antiquated 1960s technology, this basically could hinder it and hinder all payments and delay it, basically. They're basically saying, oh, look, we have a problem here, which is delaying people from getting paid. So your update is, why aren't you getting your money? Simple. It's now they're saying it's because of antiquated equipment. Now, if anyone's watching this like you, Michael, if you're still here, here's a question for you. I'm going to give you a question. Are you thinking what I'm thinking, that they're using this as a scapegoat to not pay the people because the IRS and the Treasury doesn't have a timeline, and Social Security is saying it's next week or end of month of April or early May for SSI? And two, I have not found any evidence so far about Veterans Administration. People keep rattling that saber, and I still can't find any info. So with that said, I hope you guys can be very optimistic and show me a link so I can correct it, So anywho, that is something I want to share with you all, is what you think, because I'm thinking that they're going to start using this as a crutch to get what they want and delay things. Now, certain people that are struggling need the money first. Other people not struggling so much don't need the money. But It would be nice to know for the people out there struggling when they're going to get paid. And it seems that, in my opinion, with the no money going in, and they're trying to get a new loan set up between 5 and 600 billion, or give or take, I'm quoting 5 or 600 billion due to the fact that for small business loans, it's of the Republican. Enrique and Natal, they don't want to pay us. That's what I was just going to say, Enrique. Thank you for your observation. I appreciate your actual and your input, because that's how I see it. Basically, the Republicans did not want to pay, okay? Let's put it to you this way, as Enrique just said. No one wants to give the disabled, the retirees, or the SSI people their money. They're just throwing a bone out there and hoping like heck everything gets buried. Now they throw out an article about the antiquated 1960s computer, thinking this will buy us some time so we don't have to pay these people. Meanwhile, when they finally get around to fixing it, it might be Christmas time when the law is almost executed by 12/31/2020. I mean, literally, the people that are needing it is suffering, and they don't want to pay it. Republicans did not want to make a deal to give $1,200. So look what happened. You do the math. I mean, I'm not going to bring this up, but as you heard the report, again, they talked about airline bailouts. Again, they bailed out the airlines before giving you any money, and they're supposed to have an oversight czar to make sure the money's, and they did, for what I read on the bill, it did not say, for what I understand reading the bill, it did not say anything about airline or cruise line bailouts, okay? So I haven't found them. You see, this is what I do right now to pass my time, is to try to help you all out understand where your money is. And it's a tedious and tiring time at times. That's why in the evenings I spend some time enjoying a movie. Now, and the internet's lagging, so. Okay, so what else can I say? 1960 antiquated equipment, and Enrique's right. They don't want to pay. And so they're using that as a freaking excuse. Let's see. Us on SSI are the only ones suffering. Yes, that is true. But you got to also remember, Enrique, it's not just SSI people. It's people that are on Social Security disability, Social Security retirement, Social Security survivors that have dependents. Some of them are suffering with children. And don't forget the people that are suffering, like the ones that are suffering that filed their taxes and didn't get paid. The ones that have families, lost their jobs, can't put food on the table. That little bit of money could help them, and they're not seeing a dime of it. Several other people are getting the money, and everyone else gets to suffer. SSI, I agree. I mean, SSI people get very little, but I'm just thinking about the overall when it comes to people. It's not just about the SSI people. It's people who've lost their jobs, lost their income. And that's the other thing. This report is saying basically that with the coronavirus, they closed the Ogden, Utah office. That means that no one can guarantee when the office will reopen, which means everyone is hanging in limbo. Okay. And that's, Enrique is semi-right, semi-wrong. Everyone in this country is suffering. We have 22 million jobs lost. Banks can't loan money out to keep these businesses afloat. If the unemployment rate keeps going up like next week, and no one can get through to the unemployment office to get their benefits, people are calling hundreds of times a day. 3-4 hours being disconnected. These are the people that are suffering. Oh, wow. Oh, wow about what, Michael? I mean, literally, right now we're at 22 million unemployed. Capo Don, what's new? Well, I guess you missed the report, Capo Don, but I will give you a summary. The reason checks are being delayed now is that there's an article in the Washington Post that the Seattle Times published stating that the equipment that processes payments are from 1960s, and therefore it wasn't meant to roll out $2 trillion. So But it did say that the airlines got a bailout, so dump Trump. Yeah, I'm going to show this just because, it's cool, you know. So basically, that's what it says. If you haven't paid attention, Capo, I did some research on your theory about the Great Depression. Well, I did a lot of history on it today and did my own opinion. I think we might be sliding into one. Ben Stein thinks so, but anyway, so basically what I'm talking about is the updated report came out this morning that the Washington Post published that says the Social Security checks are being delayed right now and other payments due to the fact that the the IRS had to close off a call center in Ogden, Utah, so no one can call to inquire about their checks. Makes it convenient, doesn't it, Capo? Two is their equipment's from 1960s and needs special programmers to get it done, and they don't have these programmers. And three is they're basically stating that they bail out companies and airlines, and the president touting that the success of the small business loan was flawless, and that the 80 million people that got their checks before the other people is flawless. And so the IRS has some bugs to work out, but right now they got to get the programming right. And then they were talking about how the IRS portal was broken and, take special programming for the IRS portal and yada, 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 and stuff like that. I've heard rumors that they're trying to reprogram the portal to accept when direct express payments are going to go in, but they have no time dates or stamps for when they can update that portal. So apparently, so 1960s technology. Oi. And they're saying a lot of government agencies in the country have these 1960 technologies. They're talking about how the unemployment benefits, their computers are on the same system. So if that's the case, Don Capo, I'm wondering why the fudge they didn't pay the money to update this system a long time ago. Yeah, exactly, Michael Donovan. Capo was talking about that the other night. Was stating that we might be stuck indoors for about 18 months with only time to get groceries. And the reason I did a video about depression, it was 3 hours today, was I was concerned. And, if you look at the 29 depression compared to today, it's looking kind of on par. Literally, as you all know, is I have to do my own research, Don, okay? I don't just believe everything I read. I can spend hundreds of hours researching cameras out of stupidity, being bipolar, but I sat down this morning and last night, and I'll tell you my story, Don. Last night I sat down after I woke up from a nap, and I poured me some cognac with some ice, tasty ice. I got to have ice in my cognac. And I drank it. I was watching reports on the Great Depression and what's going on right now, and the similarities are there, I can guarantee. But I can also guarantee that there's a lot more similarities than people meets the eye. Literally, with the economy going down the toilet and people begging for their stimulus checks and not getting it, makes me wonder. And then the government wanting to reopen the country, which won't happen. And then you look at the numbers, 22 million unemployed right now. It's probably going to go up to, I'd say, 5 to 10 million this next round for unemployment trying to file. And then when that happens, look what happens. Like I said in my video, those 3 hours, the problem is the retail sector is at a grinding halt. A lot of things are at a grinding halt, and they're not going to be fixed anytime soon. If the economy is at a grinding halt, as Chloe said earlier in my previous video, that the people that do get their stimulus check, when they get it, you're going to see things fly off the grocery store shelves as fast as possible to survive, because food will be the number one thing they'll need while surviving. Again, people ask me that same question daily, and Ricky, I'm going to explain it so you can understand it's crystal clear, okay? The U.S. government, two guys basically in Congress, came up with an idea to give $2,000 a month till it's over. The Republican Party is not going to give in or give an inch. If they want, they're not. If they won't give in an inch that the Postal Service is failing, and pay attention, Ricky. And it said in the report that the Republicans didn't want to give any money to upgrade the computer systems that the U.S. government has from the 60s. Does that tell you something right there? The government isn't willing to spare a penny or a dime to update the computer system, even a quarter or a dollar. And they're using antiquated equipment from the 1960s. And you got to wonder why the Republicans ain't parting with that kind of money. But they'll go and part with billions of dollars for billionaires. I wasn't going to say you're billionaires, but for billionaires. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that there's a lot of problems. Let's see. Yes, they will. And call me Rick. All right, Rick. They're not going Don Capo, they're not going to give $2,000 a month. They can't budge. Pelosi wants to give $2,400, and if she gets lucky to $2,400, it'll be a miracle. I mean, right now, they're not even putting anything on the table. Two guys came up with it, and on top of that, CNN and other news agencies hasn't really brought this up. You have to go through different channels to find the $2,000, which I found, and, it's a big, big issue. Yeah, and you know what I think, Don? The Republicans skimmed off the top of the $2.2 trillion, and that's why no one's seeing their checks right now, because there's no oversight. The Democrats asked for an oversight czar. Look what happened. They were supposed to appoint one. But with an oversight czar, it took 3 weeks to clear out all the loan programs, and now Social Security, the 70 million people relying and needing their checks to make sure groceries are put on the table so they don't have to worry, is in limbo because, lo and behold, there's no more money. No, they won't give $1,500 a month. Congress isn't going to do it, okay? Let me put it this way, Rick. I did the math today, okay? Just alone, to give $2,000 per person, just the average, okay? The average per person times 340 million, that's what I hear the number is in the population, okay, is approximately $816 billion. Now, add the other families and spouses and everything, you're looking at about $1.2 to $1.5 trillion. Think the government's just going to write a check for that much money for a whole year and say it's free? Oh, not to mention they want to tack on food stamps, Medicaid, and any other programs that the people qualify. That's, they're not going to do it. I mean, literally, they basically would watch them. They'd rather basically watch companies and go under, which I said in my video that if we have a Great Depression and, slowly, the retail market fails because people can't get their stimulus checks and things fail and businesses fail, like the auto industry, the yacht industry, the airline industry, the cruise line industry, the companies that fail because products aren't being bought because the Americans are penny pinching. Well, if a company fails. I mean, we're in a tight situation where we got to think about our survival over buying stuff that we don't need. I know people that are going to be going and spending money on a $1,200 fly rod. To me, no. In this day and age, I don't think someone needs to pay $1,200 for it. They need to think about the future. The future is groceries, not a fly rod. Even if you're an expert in fly fishing, highly don't recommend it. True. 2,000, not maybe 1,500. I don't think they'll even give that. You got to remember, they don't want to part with $900 billion for everyone every month. I mean, literally, that's basically it. And as you said it before, wasn't it you, Capo, Don, that said, where's the money coming from? We can print all the money when we want, but we can't get out of it. Secondly, you also, I think, said that who's going to be paying for it in future generations? Everything is broke. Yeah, you see that? Michael is completely right. We are in the Great Depression. I can actually officially state that the way things are looking, Don, we are. I mean, look at the way it is. We're in a Great Depression. It's going to go down the toilet. And talking about something else, I just saw an article that's kind of disturbing. I do want to bring it up. Apparently, the former vice president, Joe Biden, Shotgun Joe, is already trying to put together a transition team 6 months before he's even been voted into office. That makes me wonder. And by the way, if the economy is that broke, okay, something to think about here. How many people out there are really going to be going and donating to these people's campaigns? The wealthy will, but if the wealthy people that donate that have factories aren't seeing employment, they might not vote for them anyways. I mean, right now, everyone is basically hindering on the states making the right decisions. So, you know how it is. No, it's not going to be the end of the world. It's going to be the end of the U.S. economy, because I think the world will rebound, whereas the United States won't. And I'll explain them why, Rick. And Don's probably really, really interested in my answer, but my research shows that the United States is the biggest gas guzzler, and I'm saying this in a metaphor, a term, gas guzzler of commercial and retail spending. Okay, mostly like, malls and stuff, clothing, etc., retail shopping. Now, without the government allowing people to borrow money to go shopping, that avenue has been turned off. So retail companies have dried up. So as long as people are still waiting for their money and they can't go shopping, they won't. But when they get their money, they're going to think about their family and stuff, but they're not going to funnel money into the retail sector, because the retail sector, in my opinion, is dead. Dead on arrival, DOA. It's dead. They're not going to be able to revive it. And eventually, the online ordering system will cease to be existing too for Americans, because they're going to have to either ask themselves, like I said, in this depression time, are they going to want to buy food or provide internet for their family? And two is, are they going to want to continue paying for streaming services when they can't afford it? It's going to be some tough decisions out there, Rick. And the Americans or all the citizens of the United States is going to have to make some tough decisions. Some people are better off than others, but still, the question is, will they be able to take that chance to cut their expenses and maybe start using snail mail again, and keeping the post office propped up that way? All right, so basically, Nelefi Brown, you have SSI. So SSI, by Social Security's own wording on their update, stated that payments will be going out, and this is play on words, the first week of May. So by the Social Security calendar, I'm assuming you're going to get yours on May 1st with your heavy $1,200 check included. And that goes for my theory on the timeline that payments will probably go out May 1st for anyone on Social Security disability, SSI, retirement survivors, or those three other programs. So, so it's like handing people a loaded gun. Well, yes and no. The thing is we're not handing someone a loaded gun. We're just watching the entire financial market sector get crumbling. And the reason it's crumbling, Rick, is because the financial... Well, yeah, you're welcome, Nelefi. I mean, like I said, I'm here to guide people. Like I said, the financial institutions, Rick, are failing. I mean, look, if this basically blows up, it's not going to just damage the retail sector. There's 22 million people out of work right now. It's also going to affect the housing market severely. The people aren't going to want to buy the big ticketed items, which means things will go down the crapper, or as in the movie The Babe with John Goodman playing Babe Ruth, going down the Johnny Flusher. So things are going to go down the Johnny Flusher, and it ain't going to be fixed. God bless and thanks for the info. No problem. If you subscribe, no lefty, I do updates all the time. Direct Express, here's a bit of advice for you. If you want to check your Direct Express account, check it between 10 p.m. and 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time or 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time every night, or check online. It'll tell if your money's there early. I can't guarantee, but so far I've checked on the phone system from 10 p.m. Pacific or 1 a.m. Eastern, and I also do it around 10 a.m. Pacific or 1 p.m. Eastern, and gives the timeline of 12 hours to see if 12 hours for pending. So there's nothing. But if you do it that way, eventually it'll come up on the radar that there's a pending transaction from the IRS. So just be patient. Just Flush. Yeah, Just Flush is a good one. But yeah, basically, hello Sutton, how are you this evening? So basically, like I said, the report stated, by the way, Sutton, I hope, I don't know if you've been following, so I'll give you a quick recap. You probably just came in. So one of the reasons your check's delayed is because the IRS hasn't updated their equipment since 1960s. So their system can't handle $2 trillion stimulus at all at once. So it's bursting at the seams like a swimming pool. Just Flush. Hello, Miss Baker. So basically, that's the report. That Social Security's antiquated equipment from 1960s, and because of it, the states that have the same antiquated equipment runs the unemployment services, and so a lot of people are suffering. It's like Florida's giving paper applications for unemployment on the grounds that they can't take the load. They said, what was it, 34,000 people I think were paid, or that might have been Texas. But anyway, look at it. Florida had a backlog of 850,000 unemployment, and they're still using a old antiquated system. And because they don't have programmers, most programmers are hard to find or retired, that's delaying money too. So as I said to some of the other people, I think, Sutton, that's why they're using this new information as a crutch. I'm basically stating I think you'll get it, like the time frame they're given. But right now, I got a feeling they're trying to delay this as long as possible due to the fact that the new report came out today at the Seattle Times, which if you click on the link, it goes to the Seattle Times, so it says it came from the Washington Post. So the Washington Post, probably Woodward and Bernstein did it again. If you ever will read their books, it's like they're always on political things like Nixon and, who's Deep Throat, they knew who it was. That was my little inside joke. Woodward and Bernstein's always doing something, and so maybe they just found out the IRS ain't giving stimulus checks to 70 million people because the equipment's antiquated. But Donald Trump claims that it's a big victory for the people that did get their refunds. Really. It went through flawless. Right. My husband would be like, there's something wrong with the picture. I think someone put something in the Kool-Aid, man. So, anyways, no jokes right there. I miss my husband, but my point is if you look at the big picture, the antiquated equipment is what's causing the delay right now. So we're getting more information of delays. They're just like, today's news. So, I found that out because not many of these people, no offense, have posted about the delays today of this. This article is kind of like a hidden gem within a newspaper. So they're just like, oh, look, when I saw it, I looked it over clearly, and I said, this is something that's got to be announced because people need to realize that if they listen to the first part of my video, it actually explains the entirety of it, like, what Trump said, what Steve Mnuchin said, what's going on, why the equipment's antiquated, and it didn't say anything about timelines. They're just like, because of this, there's programming issues, and that could delay other people's checks. And the fact that they got to fix the bugs, which means special programming. I said they had to have a patch, but I didn't know it was 1960 antiquated pieces of junk we're still using. So, So how are you doing tonight, Miss Baker and Sutton? So, but no, unless they come out with a new report, Sutton, your check should be at the end of the month. Just keep doing like I said. Check online, check your phones. You should be able to get through eventually, and it'll tell you exactly what's going on. So technically, but I thought for all of you out there, this article has not been shared, quote unquote, with anyone else yet on YouTube. I checked it out thoroughly, and some of these people are basically posting updates about, the system's broken. But they didn't say anything about this report or the antiquated thing. This answers a lot of questions that people have been asking me in my comments. Like one person asked me, are you sure I'm not getting paid the 27th? Calendar says the 22nd. So hopefully that helps them, That Kool-Aid be good. Oh, yeah, I remember growing up with Kool-Aid. Something ain't stirring the Kool-Aid, man. Turn on you. I'm not even going to try that portal again since the other day. The portal actually doesn't work for people with Direct Express. I tried the portal myself, and the other situation, Sutton, was, if you remember, I read the 5 reasons you might not see a check. One reason was you might not qualify. So the IRS could be using that code too, that you don't qualify for some crap hole reason, and that's why they're not paying. So you got, remember what I said the other night, Sutton, you got the IRS basically not giving a timeline to anyone. You got the Social Security Administration giving it timeline. You got Direct Express saying we have no information at this time. So then Social Security basically gets nagged by AARP about SSI. So the IRS threw a vote, said, okay, we'll give it to no conditions. Then supposedly the veterans were going to get the same. I haven't seen anything yet from the veterans, by the way. Then, like I said, they're just throwing bones out there for people to munch on them. Meanwhile, these older articles, unless you know what you're looking for on Google, these older articles are getting buried with new info about, CMB said this or such and such said that. And it's getting harder to dig up the information where they actually had timelines. Now it's like, they're basically throwing a new article out there. 1960s antiquated equipment. So as you probably know, Sutton, as I would say probably in my video, if you know me by now, something doesn't add up. Turn on your deposit notification. I have, Rick. Problem is, for the last 4 months, before Direct Express had this coronavirus problem, they had a man manning the email notification and sending them out, doing it manually by just hitting a few buttons here and sending out a mass thingy. Because their email notification's been disabled, I haven't been able to get it. It doesn't go into my spam folder. So I asked the other day. That's how I found out that the stimulus check through Direct Express. There is problems with manning the entire email system. And because of it, there's no money to, as Sutton would probably know about now, no money to, which brings me to another interesting fact, no money for Direct Express to update their phone service for the Direct Express line for the stimulus payment. I will get to the 2,000 in a minute, Sutton. There's another thing. The IRS also said there's not enough money to adequately update the computer systems from the 1960s, and the fact that there's not enough money to run the call center. So they closed the call center, from what this report said, in Ogden, Utah. So that tells you right there, they don't plan, in my opinion, call me paranoid, but it doesn't sound like they want to pay us. Republicans didn't want to pay us to begin with. Now they found a way to backdoor it. 1960 thing. But the report also said the Republicans don't want to fund the IRS to update the computers. And the IRS said in the last 10 years, they've cut like 40,000 employees. Okay. I hope that was crystal clear. Now, you asked about the $2,000 a month. First of all, as I said to Don Capo earlier, Congress is not going to buy it. The Repubs will never give in. Even if they get a kickback, they won't do it. That is about 816 billion for 2,000 a person per month for 340 million. Or that's 816 billion is just 2,000 per person. Doesn't matter how many people is in your household, as long as they're alive, and it equals up to the amount of people in the world. So I've heard the U.S. Sorry,
I saw a funny meme, right? Whereas people were protesting the shutdown, and one's like, well, shutdown's hurting my economy. My favorite story is the shutdown is limiting on how many people I can have my Klan rallies. And one of these like, why do you think we're reopen the government? Then, the government reopens, right? They get sick. One guy is like, what the hell's going on here? The Klanman's like, how do we get sick? Trump told us everything was all right. Now we'll get that. Now we're getting sick. Wonder what's going on. And the lady's like, for some reason, I think it's Obama's fault. It's Pelosi's fault. They're sick.
That's not cool. Not cool at all. That I'm out. Okay, so it is. If you claim as a dependent, you still get boy on SSA. Well, that's different. If you have a dependent, you got to file through the portal. But if you don't file in the portal, the IRS says it could be delaying and paper checks. Which brings me again to the thing about the $2,000. Okay, they're not going to allow it because that's between 816 billion and like 1.3 trillion dollars that they would have to print. Not including, they also want to put on the table at the same time Medicaid, food stamps, free electricity, all your rent's covered, everything. They just basically want you to be in your house for 12 months, living free and increasing the economy somehow on finances while giving money free. And then you have these people that say, well, if you get free money, just invest it here and here and here, and you'll be a millionaire in no time. The government doesn't want you to take their money if they're going to give it to you to go and invest it in to make yourself a millionaire. I mean, if everyone did that, the entire people would do that, and then the economy itself falter and fracture. I don't have, that's the thing, I don't have children myself. I've never had children, Don. So technically, I can't claim children. I am on disability by myself. I don't claim Chloe because Chloe's on her own Social Security and SSI, so I can't claim her. Even though I supported her for 4 years and 2 months, she's actually 31. So technically, she's a little over to claim, and I'm not going to claim her taxes because taxes are too complicated to me. If you got to claim. If you got to claim as a dependent, still get boy on SSI if you got claim. We already have everyone in my family is already on. With me, I'm on survivors and disability. Always on SSI and disability. There you go. My mom's no longer around. She was on SSI. And then she got she didn't even get full retirement. So she passed away. They were going to give it to her, but oh well. So basically, that's what's going on, and there's a couple more things I want to talk about in this report, okay? I know my video's gone long, but I think, with all the comments, I do want to answer them and be somewhat professional in my help with you all. Is they also said that the 1960s antiquated equipment could delay the checks going out, paper checks. So let's think about that. They also said that certain people might end up with paper checks no matter what. So, as I said the other night, I think the IRS is trying to delay the direct express people with paper checks, which means it takes longer. And while people are waiting for their checks, they're going to send it out paper so they don't have to deal with direct express for some reason, because it doesn't seem everything is any good. It's like the left hand ain't talking to the right or vice versa. So correct me if I'm wrong or call me paranoid. That's how I'm looking at it from my own perspective. I mean, literally, I'm not really worried about the check myself. I'm more worried for you all, but I'm also trying to keep you guys updated so you understand the latest info. In this 1960s, quote unquote, my opinion, mechanical failures, it's time to update the system. We're in a new century, a new decade. So, does anyone have any questions, concerns? I'm here to listen. And Don, I do have something to ask you. What are you talking about? If you have a claim, still boy on SSA, please explain what you're talking about. What the hell is that? Okay, cool. So basically, the article was kind of, like I said, interesting. I mean, literally 1960. So if we go off of based on 1960 technology, that's 60-year-old IRS equipment and computer equipment that hasn't been updated since then. It means they're like running pretty much on technology from 1960, which means it's like all manual labor, in my opinion. They got to have something they do. So, I don't know. But like I said, I hope, this update finds it well worth the watching because it is scary. Literally, it is scary as scary can be that they're using technology from 1960 and no one literally hasn't updated it. No money. It tells you right there there's something wrong with this problem. Now that I see there's like 11 people watching, I would like to know, and 12 people now, what their opinions are. I know I did talk a little bit about possible Great Depression, but that's only because it looks like we're going towards it. So anyway, does anyone have any questions? Well, what's your concern, Sutton? See, you got the little emoji. So what's on your mind, sweetheart? Something bothering you? The 9 checks, especially the people that truly need it. It makes me wonder if the government's really trying to cripple the severely poor for their own reasons. I mean, call me paranoid, but it just seems not so cool, Oh yeah, there's a good email. It's time to get reopen the economy and get Texans back to work. Yeah, and they say the spreads. It's going to be because some of these people didn't listen to the people, and they're going to get sick worse. So there you have it. Checking my email real quick because it says I have a new comment. Let's see, oh no, it just says live. So it's just saying my video is live. Cool. I don't have to worry. There you go. So anyways, that's what's going on. I hope you guys got some questions or concerns. I'm willing to listen, like I said, because soon I'm going to have to go watch a movie. So let's see. My opinion, give me my money, you bastards. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm thinking. A lot of people will never recover from this. Well, Michael, I do want to say, actually, you're completely right. Honestly, sweetheart, you're right. I mean, look at it. Have you seen the documentary that YouTube puts out, and the documentary from Amazon, if you're a Prime member, where it's got something about the stock market, the crash 29? The men never fully recovered. They were feeling so ashamed that they wanted to make a quick buck that they invested all this money into the stock market, not including banks for giving loans to cover these stocks, and in the end, everyone lost their money anyway. So people lost their homes. People had to live in tents. People had to pull together and live in communal buildings with their families. And it was never the same. I mean, literally, we should take a cue from what happened from 29. I mean, literally, it's like I've been saying. It won't be the same. I mean, look at it. And the other day, I watched it last night over cognac. I was watching a woman talk about how spending will never be the same in this country again. Literally, it's like people go out and they get money, not talking about people wanting to spend it foolishly, but they get money, they go out and they party. They spend it foolishly. They, whatever. And then they suffer for it. And right now is not the time to panic and go buy big ticket items. I mean, literally, like I said in my video, people that make RVs fail. It's because they saturated the market with too many used and new RVs. Look at the malls. They're all shut down. If some of these mall stores close, well, there's too many stores out there in the market. If they go online, eventually it's going to dry up. And when it dries up, they go bankrupt because no one's buying. They're only thinking about their necessary needs. So technically, some people, I check it at 10 p.m. Pacific time, Sutton, which would be 1 a.m. Eastern time. And that's the thing. I mean, let me put it to you this way, Michael, okay? You might not know this, but I'm going to give you a little, I'm going to share with something that's very important to me, okay? Chloe always talks about it too, so it's time I share with you all something that's important. That people need these checks and they're not getting it. There's people suffering so severely that people don't talk about it. Look where I live, for example. The governor won't lift the restrictions, for example, until the coronavirus is contained. Meanwhile, fuel prices dropped, they say to like $1.10 a gallon. Yet people that want diesel's dropped out $3 a gallon or something, so it's like really low for diesel. We got a lot of boats here where we live. I live on an island. It's for whale watching. Tourist economy on the whale boats, they can't make their payments. They can't do their business. They're going to lose their business, their livelihood to go out on the water. People can't make their payments on their small airplanes that fly people to the island. They're going to lose their business there. Well, exactly. That's the thing. They know you can't move unless you got Social Security disability and you got a big retro check. Then you can go somewhere. But honestly, they know you can't go anywhere. You're stuck. And they know that the unemployment's going to be filing next week's going to be bigger. They know this. Problem is, why can't you get through to the unemployment offices? Then they say the unemployment offices can't file these big enough. Or the unemployment office's computer systems are from the 60s, take special programming. I mean, this is new stuff coming out. It's like now they're saying that our computers are antiquated and we can't handle the load. What was it? A pending deposit of $1,200 was posted on? Fill me in, Rick. I'm actually listening to that one. I'm going to go check Direct Express online real quick. Because it'll tell me if something's pending on my card too. Pending. I'm going to go over there now. Because if it's pending, it would mean that they might pay you in tomorrow morning. If it's legitimate, by the way. Now, if it is legitimate, I will know momentarily. Just got a call, at the subsequently time. So, let's see. I only got $20 to my account, so let's check on Select. Go to account history. Search for April. I got nothing pending, nothing on the deposits. Let me check on the bottom. Nope, nothing. I got nothing pending for $1,200. So, did you file taxes in Ricky? Because you might be a Rick. Go ahead, Sutton, smack him. I was just going to say the same thing. Because frankly, you know, this is something that's serious. Some people really are seriously struggling and needs it. And as Michael said, all right. Barbara, when is Social Security going to give you your money? Okay. By the reports by the Social Security Administration, SSI recipients will get it. The play on words here, first week of May. So I'm assuming by my calendar and my theories and scientific evidence, they're going to pay you your $1,200 and your SSI payment at the same time, which would be May 1st, or April 30th at 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, or 1 a.m. May 1st Eastern Standard Time. So I already checked, you know, and mine says 0. So it's only almost 9 o'clock. So technically, or 12 a.m., almost 12 a.m. Sunday. So because the last time I called, there was nothing pending at 10 this morning, they aren't going to pay us tonight unless they magically just do it, you know. Well, thank you, you know. So I hope that helped you, Barbara. Basically, your money will go in on May 1st, is what I'm assuming. Now, I know some people asked about SSDI, and again, they say the end of April. So I'm assuming April 30th is when, you know, at 10 p.m., 1 a.m. Eastern Time. Or it could be April 27th to the 30th. So that window, they say late April, could be a window between the 27th and the 30th. Because so far, right now on Direct Express, no one's got money. I know Sutton checks herself. Bettina said, hopefully I have a great weekend. You know, other people are watching this and saying the same thing. So technically, you know, you could be, you know. Actually, Rick, there is no set time. But the Social Security Administration stated, and I quote, SSDI will be around late April. SSI recipients play on words as early May. They're using the play on words so they can basically throw no date out there, but say this is the time frame. However, as Sutton knows, as I said, that it could be that we all might get paper checks because they can't do direct express deposit because there's no money. I mean, they're trying to negotiate more money for the small business loans.
Will be clean as those ones dry.
Amen, sister. Amen.
Have the clean dishes.
I got $4. Yeah, well, I got 20. Okay, and that pays Amazon coming up in 5 days. So if I don't get paid my check in 5 days, I still got Amazon to cover this month, so it's covered. So, hey, what's up, little Shih Tzu? I got a Shih Tzu. It's looking around. Hey, boo boo. My service dog. He's just looking around. No, the bunny is not food. But no, anyways. So basically, I'm getting a lot of questions about that, and a lot of people have private, ask questions on previous videos in the comments down below. You know, when the video ends, they ask, when is the check coming? And I always get those all the time. They're like, other people are saying it's on Monday. Other people say it's on Wednesday. Other people say it's Friday. And I say, how does that work for you for last week? I didn't see anything 13th, the 15th, or the 17th. So I don't think we're going to see anything the 20th, the 22nd, or 24th. 22nd might be. It's a highly possibility, but I'm logically thinking, you know. Well, Sutton, I'm going to make a bragging joke, and I'm not going to disclose amount, but yeah, me and Chloe are got a little bit more money than most people. But that's because after 50 months of waiting for disability and SSI, they decided to cut retro checks. So her first payment's coming in May. In the meantime, let's just say I don't have to say anything, but my cognac has been tasting really good. But I'm here to help you out, all of you out. And so that's why I'm not really worried. People say, oh, your butt hurt because you didn't get a check yet. Not really. after spending 4 years pretty much taking care of Chloe, she's helping too, Retro. Let's just say SSI Retro was nice and the SSDI Retro was nice. But I spent probably close to $40,000 supporting Chloe for 4 years. So to me, it's if I could adopt you, I would. I would gladly adopt a daughter. I don't have children myself, so. But yeah, I mean, literally, we're just, being frugal. I mean, we are literally. So basically, we are actually frugal. I mean, literally, we're really worried about the economy, so we're penny pinching. I mean, like, not to brag or anything, payback. Yeah, payback. Basically, it's back pay. There you go, Rick, back pay. Now, here's the other thing. Tonight, I'm having tacos for dinner. Tomorrow, I'm having shrimp fajitas for dinner. Looking forward to it. Literally, I am. The Salisbury steaks I had from last night's dinner, which I went to sleep. Today didn't taste that good. No gravy. Well, yeah, I'm feeling pretty good, with my chicken tacos tonight. Beef tacos on Monday, and shrimp fajitas tomorrow. I can't complain. I love the president. Well, I mean, everyone can love the man or hate the man. Me, I just personally, I just let me put it to you this way, Michael, without insulting anyone about our commander-in-chief. I think it's funny that CNN keeps doing fact-checking, and it's like they're talking about the commander-in-chief's nose as being the Pinocchio nose, longer than anything in the world. It's like probably 10,000 miles long, Pinocchio nose, and I'm just like, seriously, tacos too? I'm jealous. Well, and another thing is Chloe was out yesterday. I don't know if I shared this with anyone, but Chloe went to Off Island, as you probably all know from my captain's log. Let me just break it down to you because the economy's hurting. Chloe went to the grocery store the other day, and she was wearing a sweatshirt, like a dress, and she was wearing very low shirts, and her butt cheeks were showing, and the manager at the store threw a fit. And Chloe got into it with her, and I was outside enjoying a cigar, celebrating Chloe's retro check. They got into it, and Chloe called the lady a biatch. Next thing you know, the lady stormed outside to yell. Was cool with me, of course. I'm just like, hey, how goes it? And she's like yelling, and Chloe's like, at least I can go to the other store. And the lady's like, no, you've been 86 from them all. Then, like 3 hours later, the sheriff came to our door and said, hey, this is from Rita. Or, not Rita, I'm Rita. Chloe. Get Chloe. So I decided to eat a sandwich in front of the officer. I know in person. I'm like, hey, how goes it, bud? He's like, oh, I can't complain. How are you doing, girl? And I go, I can't complain. So I asked, am I allowed to the store? And he says, you didn't cause any trouble. From what I understand, you were smoking a cigar with your mouth hanging up. Like, what the hell? So basically, we got a list, and the owner of the 2 grocery stores on the island also owns a T-shirt shop, a souvenir shop, place upstairs, a sporting goods shop, and the brewery. So she's got a 1-year no trespass order on his properties because he told the manager at the grocery store to go F herself, and she's a biatch. So Chloe yesterday went off island, and when she went off island, check out the new store. She said it was enjoyable because it was sunny and it was a great ferry boat ride. Made some new contacts, and when she was there, lo and behold, she picked up taco makings and fajita makings and T-bone steaks, porterhouse and rib steaks. So they're in the freezer. And I got all the seasonings I need to make my husband's famous steaks. And I was like, picked up some rum for herself and got me some fine cognac. So I can't complain. Oh, yes, I will pray for you, I mean, literally, that is really sad that, your medicine was taken, I mean, that's just really wrong. I mean, literally, I know what pain's like. I had surgery a couple years ago, and, they put me on what was it they put me on? Extra strength Vicodin and extra strength Percocet, the high Percocet, like Percodan. And I was like, mine, I wouldn't let anyone have it. And I'm telling you, it was very painful after surgery. So, but it does make you feel good, when you have the pain pills to get you by. I never mixed it with alcohol. That was one thing. If I was going to have alcohol, I always took a couple Tylenol, dealt with the pain. But, and you know what the problem is with those freaking pain pills, Rick? Is they constipate you. I don't know how many times I was constipated in the hospital for 2 weeks. And when they finally let me go, it was just, literally, I felt really better when they let me start using my own toilet, my own commode. But that's too much info, I guess. So, anyways. So yeah, I can understand your situation. It's like one of my subscribers, Robert. Right now, was living out of his car, and he lives in a hotel right now. He's making payments, and he needs his check too. So I have very strong compassion for people that truly need it. I have compassion for the veterans that are deserving it. They fought for a country, and they might get shafted, And so it hurts. It hurts a lot of people right now because they're not getting it. And so with me, I'm thinking, honestly, that there's a delay in the breakdown of the system because the system, is broken. Not only is the IRS portal broken, but the 1960 equipment. And so they're having a lot of problems. They can't roll out 2.2 trillion, which, again, I'm trying to figure out how they spent 2.2 trillion and not giving 70 million people their checks. Which reminds me, I got a theory I want to pass on. Let's look at something real quick here. Okay, so let's go to the calculator. So $1,200. Here we go. Times, I want to see how much money is missing. Times 7,000,000 equals. So that's approximately $840 million that just went missing. So they spent $840 million for, 2.2 trillion, $840 million. Yeah, hold on. 1, 2, 3, what was it? Okay, $840 billion. Correct me. $840 billion. That's almost $1 trillion. Just no one knows where it went. They bailed out airlines, so it makes me wonder where the money went. So $840 billion. So, $8.4 billion. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. So correct me if I'm wrong, but it's a big number. It could be 8.4 billion, but still, it does So that tells you right there. I got to go fill up water bottle up real quick. So give me a second. But yeah, I'm reusing this. So yeah, basically you do the math. Basically, that's a lot of money that went missing. No one knows where the money is. So hold on a second. Is it actually free? Let me look. Yeah, one side in. Amen. I can actually use it. Then I can rinse out that one bottle I had and fill it up too. So, there we go. So, 8.4 billion or 840 billion, one of the two, went missing, and no one knows where their $1,200 stimulus checks have gone. So that would be a big red flag right there. If Direct Express doesn't know when you're going to get paid, they haven't updated their website, the IRS ain't giving a timeline, and the the Social Security Administration, another flag is giving a timeline, which doesn't match with the IRS or the news media. So to me, I think they're just throwing a bone out there and hoping I tell not people. Forget about it. And so you guys that are suffering need the money. aren't seeing the money, and everyone is hurting all the way around. And that's what saddens me the most. You know, drinking this water reminds me of the 90s when they brought out Pepsi Crystal. Oh, man, that was some good stuff, I tell you. Those Jumping Jack Doritos. Too bad they canceled those. Tells you how old I am if I can remember Jumping Jack Doritos and Pepsi Crystal. Or Crystal Pepsi. Those are the times that tell you that life was pretty good. So, anyways. So, does anyone else have any other questions or concerns? Since I've answered, I think, many times over and given my own opinion on, Social Security, I've also stated that I think they're trying to do the old switcheroo and give everyone checks. So you might be the first people to get checks, but, with the antiquated equipment and all this crap going on, it might be a while till they get paid. So to me, it's just something I'm putting on the table as a thought. Not to put any fear in anyone, but it's a thought. And besides, my thought is if the unemployment office, the food stamp office, and other offices are using the same antiquated equipment, then there's a lot of big problems and red flags, in my opinion. It's delaying it. I mean, if they were going to roll this out within 2 weeks, when will SSI stimulus checks start pending? Early May. Social Security's own website says payments should be early May. So I'm assuming it'll pend in your account April 30th, around 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. They'll tell you it's pending for 10 p.m., 1 a.m. Eastern Time, or 1 a.m. Eastern Time, May 1st. So I'm assuming May 1st by the Social Security calendar. So I'm assuming your next SSI payment, which will be by the Social Security calendar, will be around May 1st. So I'm assuming you'll get your check May 1st. Everyone else on SSDI, retirement survivors, is supposed to get their checks by Social Security's own calendar and payment schedule. They said is in late April, which means the 27th to the 30th, I would assume, which means I'm assuming we're still going to see our payments go in on May 1st or April 30th at 10 p.m. Pacific Time, 1 a.m. Eastern. So I would check back. Now, if you want to keep checking Direct Express daily like I do, and that's what helps me give these smaller updates, then I would call Direct Express tomorrow morning and onwards every day between 10 a.m. or 1 p.m. Eastern Time. That's, because I'm going up Pacific and Eastern, and you might know if your check's pending then. It'll tell you pending by IRS. So far, I check daily, and there's nothing. So, in my opinion, I'm assuming we're going to get our checks then. I also am assuming that they're just waving a bone around and giving false information so people don't panic about when their money is, because as the Treasury said, there is no more money for the small business loans or the PPP or the IED loans, but airlines and big business was bailed out first. So I'm assuming it's a delay, plus the fact that, as I said, Clydell, many times on this report, because this video should have been shorter, that the report I was reporting earlier in my video basically states, and I read the article, was from posted at Seattle Times, which had the link that goes to the free article at the Seattle Times, which came from the Washington Post, stated that the IRS computers are from 1960. So that's like 60-year-old antiquated equipment that's doing your refunds. So they're now saying that they need special programmers to fix the problem. And so I'm assuming they're trying to use this as a crutch to delay payments. So take that with a grain of salt. I could be wrong, but I'm just saying from my own thoughts, call me paranoid, that it might be delayed a little longer because, they're saying that out of 80 million people, 1% of that 80 million people did not get their checks, or they got the wrong amount, or went into a bank that's no longer a bank account that is on file. So the IRS is cutting paper checks to these people. So it could be we might get paper checks. Let's see. And if you get both SSI and SSDI, okay. So like Chloe, she's got SSI and SSDI. So her first payment goes in on April 30th at 10 p.m. or 1 a.m. Because of her Direct Express card didn't come. They might send her paper check still, but that would mean she would get hers Friday, which means that otherwise it'd be falling on the 3rd. Now, anyone on retirement and SSI, survivors and SSI, survivors and disability, survivors and retirement, those things, I'm just throwing all those combinations and get theirs on the 3rd by the Social Security calendar, which means everyone would get paid April 30th at 10 p.m. at night Pacific or 1 a.m. Eastern, which would be May 1st, which means I'm assuming on that calendar date that I'm looking at is when we might see our stimulus checks with it. Otherwise, we'll be waiting and hoping like heck that these people that make updates every day, 2-3 updates a day on Social Security and VA and all these benefits in the comments, by the way, I read the comments where the comments basically state, we're going to get paid Monday, or we're going to get paid Wednesday of this week, or we're going to get paid Friday. The best course of action, Clydell, is just to call Direct Express up if you have Direct Express, and for pending, if you have Direct Express. I only handle the Direct Express questions because, no one out there that's a card holder. These people are getting updates and clicking people so they can actually make monetary their videos because they don't have anything better to do for a living. I'm doing all this for free. And so my own sources are stating that from what I said, if the Social Security calendar is basically stating these dates, and yet a senator or Congress is saying other dates. So in the end, it's all basically in the air. It's in limbo. Yeah, well, Michael, that's the problem. They want to blame something. I mean, look, first they're blaming the report said they're blaming the antiquated equipment. Then they're blaming the Republicans for not putting money into the system. Then they're blaming the Republicans for not giving enough money. Then they're blaming the Republicans for giving bailouts to airlines. Then they're giving blames for the money going to big business first. So it's like this report's basically stating blame this, blame that. Republicans are at fault. And, I'm surprised, out of all this problem going on, CNN made a report about the coronavirus and how it's affecting our postal service, how they might be out of business by September. You don't see the Republicans saying we need to fix the postal service. No, they're basically worried about other things. And if the postal service fails, who's going to do our mail? I mean, literally, they're allowing the mail system to fail. And that is kind of sad, But, I hope that answers your question, Clyde. Let's see. I will call in the morning. I have Direct Express card, but I call the card. It says don't have it. Yeah, exactly. See, here's what the problem is, Clyde. Let me explain something that is crystal clear, okay? Sorry. Phlegm, so I had to pull it out. So I apologize. I know a guy was complaining the other day about me blowing my nose, so I apologize. Okay. Basically, you call Direct Express. They say they have no info. You go to Direct Express's own website if you have a web account set up like I do. Click on the COVID information, and in a little purple box that states we have no information at this time. But if you go to the Social Security update number 3, they say payments will go out late April. SSI payments will go out early May. That's the play on words, as my husband would say if he was alive. Now, the problem with that entire operation is the IRS, or the Treasury Department, doesn't have any pay dates. The newspapers claim that they got a leaked memo from a Congress or senator that says payments will be out on the 6th for Social Security beneficiaries, ones that file taxes. It went out the 11th. The 11th through the 17th, people got their trickle down for those. And because some of them are still trying to get fixed because of it, now they're saying that the system's broken because some people didn't get paid when they were due on their pay date. Others, it went to a wrong bank. The third type is some people don't qualify. Others stated that they didn't get their $500 for the children, so file with the IRS portal or you're going to get a paper check. So the system's broken, and they're giving all these different answers, Clydell, and they're not giving the right answer. So people sit there and watch these people that make monetary, monetize their YouTube vids to make a living, and they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna get it. And then people post comments. Well, I heard it's the 20th. Oh, I heard it's the 22nd. Oh, I heard it's 24th. Or they said, oh, I heard Social Security people like us, disability retirement survivors, SSI, it's the 13th, and SSI got an update the 15th. Someone said the VA is supposed to get money, but I haven't found any confirmation on the VA. Then they said the 17th, no money. Today's the 18th, no money. So around 53 minutes or so, I will check Direct Express again just to see if they are just putting it in automatically without anyone knowing. But I assume it would say pending transaction, which means Comerica Bank, who runs the Direct Express program, would have a pending, but instead, today, by the way, part of my update I forgot to mention because this video is so long, is the IRS claimed that payments are going out right now, as of right now, on their Twitter account. Okay, so payments are going out. Where is your money? Well, yeah, exactly. I'm going to check the same at 1 a.m. Eastern time, too. And, I do got to watch a movie afterwards and, tacos soon, too. But point is, look at the big picture. It's like I just said, where is your money? And that's the thing. The thing is, it is a complicated issue. I mean, we got antiquated equipment. They can't roll out the money fast enough. The system's broken. This is broken. That's broken. And don't forget, as I said, Clydell, if you were listening to my previous parts of my video, the IRS closed up. Here's another red flag, by the way. When I say red flags, I'm saying the IRS has no timeline. A senator or congressperson leaked a timeline. The Social Security Administration has their own timeline. Direct Express is saying they have no information. And yet, the IRS's phone call center in Ogden, Utah was, quote unquote, shut down due to a better word, or lack of a better word, funding. So they had to cut funding. Then the IRS basically, just in the report, it also stated that in the last 10 years, they cut 40,000 employees from the IRS department. 40,000 people. That tells you right there what we need to know. It's an antiquated system. Does anyone know why the IRS was created? No? Well, I'll tell you real quick. I got to use a little girl's room real quick. But basically, the IRS was created to pay for wars. After the Spanish-Indian War, it took them a long while to get a full federally funded IRS program to pay for government programs, to pay for taxes out of income tax, to pay for wars because they were losing money after like that. And right before World War I, the IRS was already in place. And by the way, to pay for World War I believe it was, World War II, they were using bonds. They were selling bonds to fund the war. It was like a personal thing. You pay $50, you get a 6-month check from the government or the bondholder for your money being held to pay for war. So I don't see bonds anymore, but that's something that you might be an interesting concept, is why the IRS was created. We didn't have to pay taxes, the IRS, I've heard some people say in previous times, presidents in the past wanted to dissolve the IRS. It would have been good, but then we wouldn't have had a stimulus check. Hold on a second. Now, mind you, the IRS, quote unquote, story was told to me by my family and my grandfather and so forth. I don't have any clarity or just to say as the disclaimer, I don't know if it's true or false, but that's what I've always believed from my own grandparents, is it was created to pay for the war. So, does anyone else have any questions, concerns, ideas for future videos, etc.? For some of you out there, you probably haven't seen my 3-hour video I made today on, and I'll touch base with that for a second. A second depression, like the financial depression. Reason I made that is I did some research last night while drinking cognac, and it was scary. It was basically pointing out what's going on now in 1929, and it scared me because the way we're looking at it is right now everything has come to a grinding halt. Right now, with 22 million people out of work, the unemployment's going to go through the roof. And right now, because people aren't getting their stimulus checks and they're not stimulating the economy, and I personally, like I said, I'm buying groceries and mine comes in to restock everything, make sure I have plenty to get through this pandemic because no one knows when we're going to be actually out of this and out of your home. My father-in-law stated the other day, enjoy being cooped up in the apartment all summer. He bought himself a coffee maker recently so he could drink his coffee at home and read his books due to the fact that he has, he's got to be at home. His church went to go, online right now because there's no way to have mass gatherings. So he's in Ohio. And it's really hard. So, but yeah, it looks like there's a depression coming due to the fact that you got, as I said in my video earlier, talking about the depression for a second, it makes you wonder because if they're not giving us our money to buy groceries and stuff, they're basically going to hurt everyone around, including the economy. I mean, literally. I mean, right now, this is a time not to buy big ticket items, but it's also at the time that's going to hurt everyone too. So, people are like, well, I want my stimulus check now. And it's like, yeah, I understand. But, there's something not right, that no one's getting it. So what's happening? Again, I think we're falling into the cracks that, $2.2 trillion stimulus wasn't enough. And like I said, where's the Social Security money? Is the government holding on to it? Have they paid out? Is there problems? Are they going to pay out? No one knows. And so people keep asking me, and I'm thinking more and more on the lines of we're in a problem with the depression, and everyone knows if the government, the commander-in-chief can't open up businesses and more people go unemployed, he's going to be voted out of office. And then how is he going to get reelected? I mean, look, CNN had a report that President Biden's already chosen a setup for a transition team already, even though it's 6 months out for voting. So makes you wonder, literally when it comes to everything. So anyways, the thing I was talking about in my depression video was the fact that regular store malls, etc., has come to a grinding halt. And because of it, no one's buying. And if no one's buying, no one has money. And no one has money, no one's going to have money. And that means everyone suffers throughout the entire quadrant. The United States suffers, China suffers. And I brought up the fact that some of the foods that we bring in, like fruits and vegetables, come from other countries. Those boats are not even allowed to leave port. So those ships aren't coming in. Factories in China aren't shipping product like, say, Nintendo Switches, PS4s, etc. They're all sitting in cargo ships or whatever. So they're all basically in limbo. So all these products are in limbo and they can't ship out, and that's hurting the economy too. And then you have the other economy problem, which is the government turns around literally and wants the government to reopen. But the problem is a lot of people don't have any money to spend anything extra, so it's hurting people that, want to go out and shop. And I said that eventually people are going to have to take, if they're still waiting for their stimulus checks and stuff, and cut corners. If they don't get them, they're going to have to cut corners. They're going to have to cut out their internet, which means no YouTube. The bandwidth lightens up. They might have to cut out their streaming service. They might have to cut everything except the bare bone essential. They might even have to cut their cell phone service and not have a phone. I mean, literally, it's going to be where it's going to be either food on the table or phone service and internet. And I don't really like to say that, but it could be possible. And so people need to be realizing that it is not cool. I mean, I had people ask me today to do a video on how to get through the coronavirus at home. I might do that tomorrow for a Sunday edition just because. But most people know what they do. There's some people that just sit there and they're looking out the window all day. What do you do at home? Well, I got plenty of ideas, as I said, but still, survival is the key. And right now, you got to think about yourself and your family, and that's what's really bothering me for all these people suffering is they're not seeing a dime. And, everyone's asking why. And then all these other people are saying, early April, then throw out false dates. And again, false dates are wrong. I mean, if we were going to get paid the 13th, we would have had our money 13th. If we were going to pay the 15th, we would have had our money 15th. If we were going to get paid 17th, we would have had our money the 17th. No one knows. You see what I'm saying? Anyways, I know people are going to be griping again about how I wasted their life watching 1 hour and 46-minute video plus, but I'm trying to answer everything and answer the questions as they come up on the live feed. So, anyways, so does anyone else have any other questions or wants to ask about Direct Express or benefits or say the Second Great Depression or anything? I'm here. So let me know. I'll just sit here for a second and wait and see if there's any other comments coming. This is a cute top I'm wearing. I'm always wondering about Christmas, though, this year, how it's going to affect everyone's Christmas. I love Christmas, and I'm kind of worried about people's Christmas, too. Oh, yeah, look at that little boo-boo. So, anyone? Any more questions? No? I'll give it a minute again. Can I have some tacos? Well, if you were here, I would give you shrimp tacos, shrimp fajitas, shrimp burritos. I think burritos are Tuesday, but yeah, you could. I mean, yeah, if you were here, I'd give you plenty. I mean, literally, I love tacos myself. Well, I'm glad to be. I'm glad to be here to inform too. I just hope people don't think I wasted their time, Michael, with this long video. But I do want to be professional and answer the comments, like I said. And two is I want people to realize that no one out there on these people that have the webs where they make money monetizing, where they post updates all the time, where they didn't come out and say, "Oh, I saw a report on." Instead, I've looked it up before posting this video, and there was nothing on the IRS's equipment being from the 60s. I mean, come on. I mean, wouldn't someone have basically, that's the reason why you're delayed? Nope. When I read that, I had to get that out there for everyone because it's an interesting read. I mean, literally, that, there's a lot of problems, and it's because of this antiquated equipment. I mean, literally, they didn't have the source to put this. I mean, in the last stimulus checks, the last 3, it took months for them. I think it took them like 4 months for all the people to get paid the checks. And 4 months every time, I think it was. So that's what, 12 months total for 3 checks during 2 presidential administrations. I think it was Bush and Obama. 12 months total, 3 checks. That tells you right there. The equipment was antiquated then. They didn't update it. So you get the idea, well, yes, well, everyone's entitled to have tacos, I mean, in my opinion. Eventually I'm going to have to take a trip soon to that island grocery myself. I want to get some bread. Unless a little gas station sells bread. I can go to any store, but still. Reminds me of a long time ago, But anyways, So I know there's people out there, that get angry at me for basically stating, be careful what you spend because on the stimulus, the government gave it to you to survive. And people are like, I'm going to get beer or I'm going to get this, or I'm going to get that. And no, it should be used for supplies because you don't know when your next meal is going to happen because, no one knows when the states are going to reopen the government. Our state's talking May 18th, possibly as early. That was the plan where it's early as May 18th. So it's just like everywhere around they're saying play on words. Early May, early this. So that's why I take everything with a grain of salt, literally. And I just wait patiently. Of course, as everyone knows, I'm still waiting for Direct Express to come up with something. They should have updated the website, but they won't. So to me, that's kind of a big red flag by itself. And a lot of people are complaining about that. And they have a right to, because everywhere you go, people are still asking these questions. But what really saddens me the most is people out there, honestly, who want the information about Direct Express. They go ask these people that monetize their channel to make a living. And yet these guys come up with the stupidest answers. And yet no one says, oh, look, there's a woman right here on the side that has updates all the time at Direct Express. Let's click on that. Instead, they're like, am I going to get my check and when? And then when they don't get an answer, eventually, like 3 days, 4 days later, after I see them basically asking the question, they ask the same question on my channel. And it's like, watch my videos. I always explain it. These are the windows that the government's giving, or Social Security. But, it's the same content all the time, Yeah, exactly. That's the thing, Sutton. I agree completely with what you're stating. They need to do something. I mean, look, when the IRS basically came out and said SSI recipients are going to get paid, and then Social Security updated their thing saying SSI people will get it early May, Direct Express should have said, for what we understand, SSI payments will get it in early May. And the Social Security Administration said late April for SSDI and the rest. But they didn't. They just say, at this time, we don't have any information on the stimulus payments. And then the newspapers are throwing out their own dates. I mean, literally, it's madness. I mean, you got people saying, we're going to get paid next week, or we're going to get paid the 27th, we're going to get paid. I mean, yeah, if we get paid the 27th, that's cool. I mean, literally, but the next payment date is the 22nd. I've said that too for the next payments for retirees. You're the lifeline between us and the madness. Well, I appreciate your statement because, frankly, I'm getting, like I said, honestly, Michael, you probably don't understand. And if you do, thank you for understanding. But, I spend my time in between reading news articles and trying to compile information and content for my channel for people to understand the Social Security, Disability, Retirement Survivors, SSA, VA debacle for Direct Express card holders. And yet, every one of these other people that talk about Direct Express, they don't have any answers. One guy today goes, it's a coin toss. It's not a coin toss. Do your freaking research. If you don't want to do your freaking research, then send them to my channel. It's simple. When you guys update every day and people ask the same questions, just send them to my channel. I don't care about my channel. I'm not making money off this. What I'm doing is I'm guiding people to realize, look, we're in basically a financial crunch. People want their money. They're not getting their money, and no one's giving the right answers. I comb through, like I said, I have a giant TV, and I comb through. I'm using my hand. I comb through all the news media, anything on Social Security, retirement. I mean, look, this little article I talked about in this on this video tonight is basically what I call a hidden gem. Most newspapers aren't posting this information. CNN didn't even post it. The Washington Post basically posted of why people aren't getting their payments. Now, I heard rumors the Washington Post doesn't like Trump, but that's beside the point. The point is they're basically posting, the truth. And so the Times confirmed it, Seattle Times, and the Times posted the reasons too. People are also posting why others aren't getting their check right now. A lot of the people are saying, well, if you qualify, you get a check. But the IRS is posting, if you qualify. They're using that as a play on words book that you might not qualify even with Direct Express. So we're going to give you this, whatever. And then they explain why there's errors in the Social Security portal. We all know there's a reason. What's the reason? I'll tell you the reason. The system is broken. Literally and thoroughly broken. I mean, literally. I mean, they basically claim that they're updating the system again for Social Security. Unfortunately, how do they update Social Security for Direct Express? I haven't literally found much information on that. Other people are throwing it out there. Again, I'm trying to basically debunk or get to the bottom of the truth. Like they're throwing out there that the IRS and the VA work together to get a payment. I haven't found anything on Google yet through my own Google searches. So it makes me upset that they're giving false hope to the veterans. When I find some information, I will let you all know about veterans. But veterans should be included. I mean, they fought for our country. You shouldn't be shafting them. But again, like I said, these people are basically throwing out different names and stuff for not giving the right info. They should just go along and basically be told through someone in the comments, this person's made some great videos on the topic, send them to her. She'll answer any questions. Instead, he's like, some of these people are, I don't know, just wait for your check. And then other people in the comments say, well, you're going to get it this day. They're throwing dates out there and giving false hope to people. And that's what saddens me the most. These people need to open their ears and listen. Hee hee hee. I heard someone say that it's a coin toss, heads or tails, Yeah, that's what I said. I heard someone say it's a 50-50 coin toss, whether you get your money or not. And that's what they said about Direct Express. But, the person basically doesn't say, oh, yeah, there's a woman out there making videos and actually explaining things. No, they're like, I can't answer that. And then they answer other questions. I mean, look, let me just say again, someone asked me in a comment, if I have Social Security as retirement and SSI, do I get 2 checks? The answer is no. The government wouldn't be that generous. If people got SSI and SSDI and they get 2 checks, then other people would be throwing a fit. It'd be like me saying I get Social Security, disability, and retirement, or survivors, sorry. That's what I get, disability and retirement. I get 2 checks. It'd be like saying Chloe gets 2 checks too because, she gets 2 different sources that help. No. Point is you don't get retirement and SSI or survivors and disability or SSI and disability like Chloe and get 2 checks. You only get 1 check. Unless that's the problem, then it'd be an interesting thing if I got 2 checks, but highly unlikely. I mean, literally, if I got 2 checks, I'd be basically going to the bank and being happy, But truthfully, no. I mean, these are the questions people ask me. Other people ask me the same question over and over. And again, it kind of upsets me on the grounds that, let's see. Rob, my new YouTube hype is $2,000 a month for most people. Can't see it happening. Hey, Rob, actually, people have been asking me about that this evening already. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a recap if you haven't watched this entire video. Basically, what's going on, Rob, is I talked in my update about an article. The article stated that the IRS equipment is from 1960. Okay, most of the computer systems that give money to people, Social Security, veterans, unemployment, food stamps, IRS refunds are all from the 60s and they're antiquated pieces of equipment that can't send out that much money at one go. It's like taking and trying to print out 100 million checks. All they got to do is if everyone had direct deposit, they could direct deposit in 3 weeks' time, 150 million refunds, right? Instead, Now they got to give paper checks, which will take $5 million a week for 20 weeks. I'm sorry, but that doesn't sound proper. Now about the $2,000, okay? Now let me explain the article. The article also said that the IRS is getting blamed for not getting these checks out fast enough. But now the crutch is the equipment's antiquated. Also, in the report, it said that the phone center, the call center for the IRS out of Utah, was shut down due to lack of funding. Now, they're saying that Republicans basically turned their nose up and won't fund for new computers for the government. However, here's a big kicker here. The Republicans are also not going to be parting with the $2,000 a month. It ain't going to happen. People say, oh, it will happen. No, it won't, because the Republicans didn't want to give the Social Security, disability, the retirees, the supplemental security income, or the survivor benefits a dime, or the veterans. So look at it this way. They didn't want it. Somehow something happened, and it was backdoor, and so far we haven't seen a check yet. They're giving dates. Oh, we're going to get ours at the end of April. That's the plan works. SSI, early May. I'll believe it when I see it with a grain of salt, okay? In the meantime, believe it with a grain of salt until you see it pending on your card if you have Direct Express. You know, they're not going to give $2,000 a month. I've seen reports say that take that $2,000 a month, and with all the other unemployment benefits and crap, invested in it, by the time you're 35, you'll be a millionaire. You think the government gives you $2,000 a month, or maximum $5,500 for a family? That they're gonna that's $5,500 a month. So that's about $816 billion to like $1.3 trillion. Do you think they're gonna cut that much money and give it to everyone in America, including themselves, to survive? Not going to happen. The Republicans threw a fit already about that, and Pelosi wants a second stimulus to be at least $2,400. Do you think they're going to budge? No. They might give us another check at $1,200, maybe if we're lucky, or nothing. I mean, look at it this way. The Republicans did not want us to have anything. President, in that report I read, basically said everything went flawlessly. Really, flawlessly? 1% of 80 million people did not get paid, or their payments went to the wrong bank, or their payments was the wrong amount, or they didn't get their $500 dependent children. So now they got to wait for a paper check. So let me ask you this, Rob and Sutton. How is it going? Flawless. President's patting himself on the back. Steve Mnuchin. I'm sorry to say, but something ain't right with the Kool-Aid, man. And that's how I'm saying it too, because of it, And so the Republicans are trying to do things. Now, here's another problem, Rob, okay? People ask me all the time, where's my money? Well, the only quick answer I can give you, which is the smart aleck remark, is, well, your money went to bail out airlines and big business before paying the disabled, the retirees, the survivors, and the SSI people and the VA people. All that money just vanished. No one knows. Now they're asking for more money for small businesses. Now, as I said, the small businesses are going to be putting a Band-Aid on it. For example, they take a loan out of $10,000, for example, to hold up till the government opens. Some states won't open till June or even July. That means they got to go and ask for more money to put more Band-Aids on the problem because, there's no money. And then when they run out of that money, they got to ask for more if the government is still shut down. What you're dealing with is money, in my opinion, money missing that no one can explain where it went. And 70 million people that are on government benefits between retirees, disabled, SSI, survivors, they haven't seen a dime yet. They're asking why. A lot of them are suffering. Some people say, oh, they're not suffering. They live month to month. They live better than us. So the people that are truly suffering with the families need it first. So they gave it to the families that are suffering, the ones that lost their job, which is a good thing. But my question is, when are they going to give you all your money? Michael, I'm going to tell you a story. A long time ago, my adopted grandpa, who adopted me from Australia, we called him Major. He once said that Americans are so stupid that they'll dig a hole 5 miles deep in the earth, concrete and leaded, dump a dang sign on the top of it after putting in nuclear waste in it, and seal it up with lead and everything in the ground 5 miles wide, 5 miles deep, diameter, with a sign on the top that says "Do not open" for 10,000 years. Yeah, well, that could be about right. The hole that we're digging right now, we're not going to be able to get ourselves out of it if, they don't think. I mean, look, the article basically also stated that the same thing I quoted from the Washington Post, the one that I read that came from the Times, Seattle Times got permission to post it, stated that we bailed out the airlines. So what's that tell you? We're bailing out airlines, yet you guys aren't seeing a dime. Makes me wonder. Well, they're giving the runaround. Like I said earlier, people ask me about the stimulus check. Okay, they're like, how come we're not getting it yet? Talk to the people that bailed out the airlines. By the way, one lady stated she wanted to write a letter to the IRS demanding her money. Your best bet is to contact your local contacts at Congress and Senate and ask them where it is. They might have better luck. When I talked to my local people, they had no clue. The timeline was leaked. They had to change the timeline. No one knows when it's going to be paid. I even literally asked why we bailed out airlines. My representatives that are Democrats said, that's a good question. Then I asked, because I'm friends with them, I said, and what is this deal about no oversight on this money? It's like the money went through a colander or a sieve, and now we don't know how to account for it. They're like, good questions. Everything that I've asked about is a good question. So what do you guys say to that? Do you have any questions or thoughts on my stupidity, on my question there? Bail out airlines, but won't give you any money. Now the wealthy fuddy-duddies want us to bail out the cruise industry. If the cruise industry can invest in billions of dollars to build a new cruise liner, okay, picture a new cruise liner being built, one of those 1,300 foot jobbies that looks like a multi-floating hotel with all this glass windows and inside and outside ways. It's like looking into a floating mall. So, you look in the middle of it and you got all this glass windows and yada, yada, yada. Think of it. They got billions of dollars to put towards these cruise liners. And why the hell do we need to bail them out? Oh, by the way, cruise line industry is failing, right? I got a joke for you all here. Someone's been asking through my own channels, I heard this, that the guy that opened up Blue Star Lines apparently is worried that he's not going to be able to finish his project and get his market up, which is apparently, this is just what I heard, a rumor, don't, trust with a grain of salt, with the new Titanic too. If the cruise industry is that hurting, then there's a problem when we got to bail out these rich fuddy-duddies vacation places because they need a bailout for it, cruise liners. Well, what the hell? Let's bail out the main tourist attraction in the United States. A lot of them are hurting. I live in Washington. Leavenworth is hurting. They got some good beer, by the way, but they're hurting. I live on an island. It's a tourist trap. They're hurting. Boats can't go out for whale watching. Other things can't be done. Souvenir shops aren't open. The county's basically said no tourists visiting our island. People bring all your supplies from mainland. Go to your vacation home and stay there, but don't go in to grocery stores. It'll contaminate people, get them sick. Again, all this is stacked up to bail out the tourists people, but no, it's never going to happen. They're going to let these companies fail. Big businesses, we don't allow big business on our island. So what happens? We're going to be hurting immensely. Not to mention, and this isn't a rant, but look at everyone who is planning to use their money for groceries. You're going to see a big supply dwindle in grocery stores as soon as people, the 70 million, get their money. Probably 50 million or so are going to invest in groceries. Others are going to invest in useless crap and junk. Some people are going to pay bills. But again, you got to prioritize what you're going to do with your funding, because the government can't guarantee that they can open the doors safely until all the testing equipment's in. I think we're going into a depression myself, but I mean, Ben Stein basically stated the other day, Bueller. They had to play that the other day on that when I was watching the CNBC report. He basically turned around and was saying that everyone that can work should work, disabled too. Help out mom and pop and grandma and grandpa and all these people. Grocery stores need employees. I've checked out my local region for grocery stores. No one's hiring. I mean, literally, I don't get it. In California, people are needing jobs. The farmers need workers. Yeah, but people don't feel comfortable going to work right now due to this virus. They don't want to get if they're working in the fields. They don't want to work and be cramped in a worker bus. I mean, literally, it's a pandemic. People are afraid. I say give them their money and let's ride this out as a community. But no, he thinks that everyone should work, even children. Because there's jobs out there. I was talking to someone the other day that says if the jobs do get restored, they might fill it with robots or something to save money. I mean, we might be unemployed for years. No one knows. That's what's the scary part. All right, let's see what's going on. Groceries for me. Groceries costing so much. Move, especially as kids home 24/7. More. Oh, yeah, exactly. Don't forget, Rob, toilet paper is expensive. I mean, literally, I don't know how many times people are talking. I mean, Chloe told me yesterday when she came back from the island and brought me a bottle of cognac. She said, that grocery store's got plenty of crack tickets. I mean, literally, it made me feel good because out here, I don't know what they're doing to toilet paper, but they're limiting it on this freaking island. You go to the other island, 2 islands over, plenty of toilet paper. Oh, yeah, exactly. I'm going to do the same. Box goods, cans good. I'm going to try to get a lot of stuff through Target, Amazon, and Walmart. I already know what I'm looking for. But, some of the stuff that I want, sold out. The other day, I was looking to buy several cases of something. And on like $90 for 24 cans. So I went to Amazon complaining. They're like, oh, here's $10 gift card for telling us about a scalper. And they kicked the scalper off. Now the guy's on eBay trying to sell 24 cans of raviolis for $90 or $200 for 24 rolls of TP. I mean, literally. I mean, who's going to be stupid to buy $200 of toilet paper for 24 rolls? I won't. I bought, like the equivalent to like 400 rolls for $50 at Target. So, you know how it is. But yeah, I mean, I got plenty of canned goods, but my problem, as like I said, is everyone is got to look at what they want to buy. What the hell is going on here? I'm getting tired of this computer. You're not better not be loading up again. Oh, all right, dismiss. Turn the volume down. I'm really tired of this computer. I had an error today on my laptop that was really stupid. Apparently, the onboard Microsoft crap hole useless assistant came on and wouldn't let me go into control panel to delete it or turn the program off. So I had to restart my computer hardwired, So, the point is, people out there are needing to get their groceries. No one knows when the economy's going to get better or, look, if you look at the structure, okay, as I was talking earlier, people got protections in place for being evicted, but once those businesses start to open up, those evictions will be gone, right? So then people can be evicted. Fortunately, right now, people are. My manager, she messaged me and she says, "There's people taking advantage of the system." It upsets me. The people that are hurting, that need the help, get extra help, can't get it because there's no money. The problem is they're turning around and going to these places and saying, you need help with rent. Well, they're basically buying extra groceries or extra whatever, and then hoping the county will pay, or the resource center will pay, or the churches will pay. Churches says we're out of money. The resource center ran out in 4 days. So they're basically struggling. And then they're like, we need food. And they're like, well, we can't even give you food vouchers because there's no money for it. So they're basically sitting there. I mean, this is my advocate course. She emailed me the other day and she says, "Hey, how are you holding up?" I said, "Oh, not bad." She says, she emailed me this afternoon and said, "Yeah, I was helping volunteer at the food bank. I didn't see you." I said, "Well, I don't need the food. Before Chloe got everything taken care of, we needed the food. Right now, I'm not taking from people that need it more. Freezer's full, other freezer's full, mini fridge is full, and the freezer is full. All these places are full. Why should I struggle? Why should I go out and get some 3 days of groceries from the food bank? I mean, literally, let some family have it that's suffering. I don't need it." She's like, "Way to go." Literally, she was more than happy. I mean, literally. I mean, now that's how I see it. The people need it more than me. Hold on a sec. Chloe, could you at least close the door so I don't have to hear that? Thank you. Noisy. Sorry about that. Chloe was in the other room with the computer blaring, watching YouTube vid, and I was like, "Hey, keep it down or close the door." She's like, "Oh, okay, cool." I know I've been ranting a bit. I apologize, but the thing is people, like you said, it's upsetting me to see that people are, not just the struggling people are being taken advantage of or not getting their checks or, they're getting misleading information. But there's others basically going to places and trying to get their rent, covered so they can spend foolishly, and it's upsetting. My manager says there's a lot of people that defaulted, because they can't, because of the law. So I asked her literally, "You got my money order?" She said, "Yep. I'll get your receipt mailed to you eventually." I said, "Cool. Nothing more." Then I asked her, we were talking, she told me to make sure to clean up the side, by the entryway. We had like a couple wheelchairs there and some other stuff, a little barbecue. And she says, "Make sure to clean it because I'll be giving violation notices on Monday." What? Sorry. Please.
No, just say, ask Bobby.
What?
He brought in a check.
What is it?
A check. He put this.
Funny little dog. So anyway, where was I? So the manager basically told me to remind me about violations. So I said, "Hey, if you look, mine's clean." She says, "So it is." She said, "You've even swept the sidewalk all the way to a point." I said, "What about the neighbor?" The neighbor's Jehovah's Witness and challenging her rule because of the no eviction clause right now. She wants to use her entire outside storage, Pepsi and Dr. Pepper and bicycles and boxes and toilet paper and everything else. She says you can't do that. So, let's see what Michael says. I don't think they're selling many cars. Well, that's the thing. I mean, in my video, I was talking about my Great Depression video, Michael. I stated that to buy a new car or finance a new car, you have to have by appointment only in the state. Same goes for buying a yacht, private plane, high ticket items, RVs, campers, travel trailers, fifth wheels, tent trailers. Those things you have to have by appointment only. But I also stated one of the reasons the Great Depression's happening and are probably going to happen is, if anyone looks at it from my point of view, I am stupid, by the way. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know anything. That's what people tell me. That if you look at the commodities market, mostly like electronics and cars and other items, groceries, for example, if you go to the market and you want to buy something, you got too many choices, plain and simple. So you go in there and you got like Walmart, 100 different television sets, plus like 500 additional online. I mean, that's too many televisions saturating the market. They should cut down the brands and only bring in certain ones, not by price point. They don't want to sit there and say, "Here's a 20 inch, here's a 30 inch, here's a 50 inch, here's an 80 inch. Choose your price point, your size." No, they should basically be, a certain thing where everyone has a good price TV where they're not paying through the nose. Look at the cars. There are so many brands and models of cars out there. 6 or 8 Ram pickups, for example. I mean, literally, you should basically cut the models down to like one or two per truck and only have them as order as needed, because there's used trucks on the market. The used market's saturated. The new market's saturated. People keep manufacturing newer model cars, and there's not enough people buying them, so they're saturating the freaking market. Did you know that there's fully complete houses, Michael? Complete houses built that can't be turned around to sell even after they were fully built. There's enough houses out there in the United States to give everyone a free house and still have some extras for people who want to update their houses. But no, the housing market's oversaturated. They're building too many houses and they can't turn them around. Then people do finance. They usually lose it because they couldn't make their payments after being canned from work, or, like this pandemic.